Okay, I think we're live. Welcome. Darius is joining me today. And sorry we're late. We had some technical difficulties. Okay. Been an event-filled couple of weeks, hasn't it? Everything for me changed when the announcement was made of Lizzie's departure, even though I'm pretty sure we all know she departed some time ago. Can anyone, before I continue, just let me know I could be heard? Okay. Yes, we awesome. Oh, now it's coming in, catching up. Okay, bit of a delay. All right, great.
Yeah, probably something with the internet.
Loud and clear, brilliant. Okay, I've been asked to clarify a few things, so I'll start with that. I honestly couldn't tell you. Maybe one of the members has took notes and can tell me. It was either very early this year or even towards the end of last year that I had a visual come in, and it was actually during a members call, of seeing two discs. And I have talked about it on previous lives, sort of back when it happened, but I couldn't tell you. They came in for me in my visuals. When things come in from the right, they're coming in from outside the construct, they're coming in from home. And the left for me is always construct related. So it was a disc, a spinning disc this way, and it was blue. And the knowing that came with it was that it was 3ZB, which is this molecule that Lulu told me about. You can look it up. It does exist. She said that the environment of outside the construct or home is 3ZB, not H2O. And 3ZB, when you look at it, if you do some research on it, you'll see that it acts as a solvent.
Was that actually a thing, though?
This blue disc felt that it was very much full of 3ZB, which plays out for us as water, and that there would be a lot of water. That, and I know we are seeing that all around the world. Extreme water, even flooding. But it also had a sedative quality to it. Like it was going to actually act as a sedative to calm everybody down. So it feels like, as crazy as things are and as crazy as some people's behavior is, it could be a lot worse. And coming in behind that was a much larger rainbow disc. And the way I described it was like looking at a side plate and a dinner plate. And the rainbow disc literally was everything. It was like every narrative, every event, everything happening all at once, the good and the bad. And it was going to be a matter of perspective as to what we considered the good and the bad, I guess. But it all felt like it was going to hit at once. And then more recently, or sort of since June, I've seen this whole Technicolor October thing. So I've equated Technicolor October with the real impact of this rainbow disc hitting. I think they're just two ways of saying the same thing. Now, obviously, things are really starting to kick off with the financial. There is, we've been talking to people who have been going off and buying gold and silver and stuff, and they're saying that the queues are at the door. Never seen the places that packed, all that sort of stuff. Am I still frozen, or is it just for you, Claire?
No, it doesn't fine. You may want to turn down your computer volume as well.
Turn down the,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll just mute it. Not frozen here. Okay. So again, just sort of going back over things I've talked about before, the energy that runs the construct, as I understand it, all comes from us. We are the batteries for this thing. And we have been, bit by bit, detaching, disengaging, deprogramming. And as we do that, we are not as a powerful a battery for this place. So it's winding down, it's shutting down because it's just doesn't have the fuel. And we have, and I've been talking about it in the sense of burning off the fuel, well, that's another conspiracy, isn't it? Of burning off the fuel on a plane before it lands, right? We have to burn off the fuel. And we're helping to do that by disengaging, by detaching, by deprogramming. And all of the things that represent our energy in here, which is the things like the money, the big one, food, fuel, any sort of energy, whether it's petrol or gas or whatever, it's shutting down or scarce or shortages of, as a direct representation of how much we are detaching and not feeding the place anymore. That's how this all makes sense to me. And just like when you shut down a computer, all of the apps have to be shut down first, and then you can shut down the computer. So I look at all of these things that are the examples of our energy as like apps. So they are shutting down before the computer shuts down.
I posted a comment, so things are going to get worse, ? I personally think that they...
Do you want me to mute?
Oh, sure.
Can you hear Darius if he talks without?
It does create an echo, though.
Well, I'll mute. You can unmute.
I personally think that things are going to get worse in terms of what you're saying, but not necessarily for people like yourself, people like that are awake and aware of what's going on, because people that are in the know, they know what's going on. And even if things did get worse, you're not going to sit there and go into panic. Well, maybe you will, but I don't think a lot of people go into panic because you understand the bigger concept of what's taking place energetically, of what's taking place if things do get worse, right? It's just cleaning up, essentially. It's cleaning up everything and preparing it for the new. Now, I still feel that a lot of people will have their hell on earth type scenarios depending on where their consciousness is. You know, like if the whole financial system collapses, if there are still some people that are consciously very low, and they're going to take that as the financial collapse as super negative thing. They're going to go into panic. They're going to go into chaos. So it's not necessarily chaos for us. It's more of just being, if that does take place, I mean, you sort of want to just be, that's going to take place for a lot of people. People are going to be running around trying to do things, but eventually we'll all calm down. So, I mean, yeah, can absolutely get worse for the people that are still asleep. Absolutely. Especially when all the truth gets revealed.
Well, I felt for a really long time that this was going to have to get as bad as we need it to get, in order for everyone to get where they need to be. But we've talked about this a lot, I mean, this whole narrative that we've been living under for the last couple of years globally, people's experiences of it have been very, very different. Some left their jobs because they refused to participate. And some went on to find a completely different job that they actually love. And others lost everything. Or, I mean, everybody's experience has been really quite unique. It's an individual inside job, as I've been saying for years. And no matter what we're confronted with, it's still that individual inside job. So there are so many stories going around about, and there's so much fear mongering going around. A lot of these stories just don't have any energy in them for me at all. Like they're literally just stories. And it's all about how giving us opportunities to react or respond. They've just got nothing in them for me. There's a lot going on in the skies, isn't there? If you're not covered in cloud cover to see them, but even when you are, it's in the clouds. Shutting down the memes, yeah. I feel if you know, then you can remain stable and know all will be okay. Yeah. And I was told, I don't know, 2 years ago in 2020, not long after this all started, that you will create what you need. And I have constantly had to remind myself of that and trust in that. And so far, so good. This is all about us remembering who we are and remembering where our power is. That we are the power. Your basic issues.
Yeah, because even when this happens too, I mean, it's going to be celebration for me, anyways.
What about what Yellow Rose said? Can you be more specific? She's said a fair bit lately.
Where does that come?
It says this one.
What she said?
Well, she said quite a bit. She said, even today, she said, we're closer than you think. Get ready to stand. So that might be what the person's referring to. Kristen's referring to.
I mean, I don't know if you want to mute out for this one. I mean, I personally have gotten desensitized to people say that it's happening soon. If you take a look at Yellow Rose stuff, she's been saying that for years. So, I mean, and I'm not saying that to disregard what other people are feeling, but at the same time, you have to take what people are saying with a grain of salt and just go off your own intuition and your own knowing. If you feel something like that, that's what I like to do. Like, I personally feel something as well. Like, it has no choice but to break. And and I look at it from both avenues. I look at it from just the physical system side of things. Has to break. This place, the system cannot continue. And so the same thing as above, so below. So the energetics of what has taken place so far to allow this to continue needs to change in order for us to move into the new. That's what I'm personally feeling at the moment. And it seems like a lot of other people are feeling that. So I would tune into more of what the collective is saying instead of just what Yellow Rose is saying, because I mean, we could all just be off at the same time. So
we laugh about this all the time, that we are potentially participating in the greatest mass psychosis ever. But there are so many people who are all feeling not just that it's imminent anymore, but that it is happening, and we're where we have never been before. I know just personally the experiences that we're having are becoming more and more powerful, more and more profound, more regular. The insights, the information, the clarity, it's just all really kind of rushing in right now. And I know that's happening for a lot of people. And we all seem to be on the same page.
Yeah, it's not necessarily that it's not going to, it is going to happen. Like it has no choice but to happen. Like even the most physical 3D stuff, the financial system collapsing, government structure collapsing, so that the people could be free here, right? So it has no choice. And I also can't ignore all the experiences that I've had, out of body stuff, Celeste and all that stuff. So it's like even the other side of it, exiting, going what people consider home and stuff like that, right? Or exiting this domain into another space of what we consider home. That's still going to happen as well, regardless if it happens like that or when you just pass away and you die. But regardless, everybody's going to get exactly what they want. I feel anyways. Well, not really. Actually, I disagree with that. Not everybody's going to get what they want, because at the same time, you're going to have people in total chaos when this happens based off their consciousness. So you're going to have people that are totally not getting what they want in total fear and panic. So
they'll get what they need.
Yeah, they'll get what they need. Everybody's going to get what they need. Whether if that's you in absolute fear and panic, well, that's what you need. But yeah, that's basically it. I personally don't feel that if you are in a conscious place where you are aware of what's taking place, how could you really be in panic of what will take place and what will transpire? How could you really be in fear unless you really don't trust your knowing? That's the only way that you're going to be in fear and panic, is that if you don't trust your intuition and your knowing. If you doubt yourself, you're going to go into fear. Yeah. So
I don't know if you guys saw it, but I posted a dream that I had the other day on the 21st, 22nd. And in that dream, which wasn't a dream, I don't know what to call it, I watched myself die rather traumatically. And the feeling is still with me. And the feeling was, once I realized, because I was looking at myself, once I realized, oh my God, I'm actually dead. The sense of freedom and excitement that came over me was so strong in my body. That's what eventually woke me up. There wasn't fear. I mean, there was in the person that I was, the version of me that I was watching that died, she was really angry. She was pissed off. But the me that was watching that, not at all. And it was nothing but excitement and a sense of freedom that I can't say I've ever felt in body here. It was quite extraordinary. Very weird, kind of disturbing, but the feeling is what I've been left with. And a shift in my perspective that I can't quite quantify or name yet, because I think it's still happening. But it was next level. It was next level for me. You're from Jersey, so you heard my dream, Patricia. I don't know where that came from.
I've personally had 3 dreams of a wave coming, and also an out of body with a mass exodus of, like, I was in the halls of Amente, and it was in a group circle with like about 100 people, and they're saying that the light workers here have increased their consciousness, their frequency, to such a state where they can no longer be contained within the space. So do more harm than good with them staying here. Then I follow that through. That was the first message that I got, and also with the wave stuff, right? And then I had this. It was a dream. It wasn't an out of body, but it was definitely a dream. You know, I was on the top of a hotel, and I was watching this wave take a lot of people out, right? And in that dream, I was totally fine from the wave hitting. The wave didn't hit me. Didn't affect the people that were consciously awake and aware. Third dream I had related to the wave, and like it's, you know, keeps on presenting itself. There was no escaping the wave. Even the people that were awake and asleep, everybody was going to be hit by this wave. And at the end of that, as soon as it hit the individual, that wave, now to me it was a water, but it could be, you know, energetic wave, solar flash wave, whatever. But when that wave hits everybody individually, like I was immediately teleported into a scene where I was able to see all of the universe and every single section of the universe and all the families singing their frequency and singing their song. They were all celebrating as soon as the wave hit us. And so, yeah, other people are getting dreams about the wave.
It was also a lady I watched yesterday. I've seen a couple of her videos over the years, or over the last couple of years. And she was talking about this triangle between the ears and the pineal that is recalibrating. And it's like recalibrating our internal GPS. And there has been a lot of talk of ear issues lately. In the Telegram group, in the Telegram chat, lots of ear issues. And it feels like the wave dreams, yeah. It feels like we're being tuned to hear. Like Darius had a dream recently, this was the wave one actually, that once the wave hit, he was in a different space and he said the whole universe was singing. And there's been lots of references. This conversation for me personally goes back to before 2012 about how tones, our voice, our unique tone signature, or tones play a part in this process. And so when he said it was like they sing us home. You know, we follow our unique frequency tone.
Yeah, because
we're also waiting on the white dragon message, which is another tone. So it's like I feel like we potentially are being recalibrated so that we can hear that unique tone for us.
Yeah, because I said before, like yes, we are all the same, but it's like we're all very different at the same time. Like, yes, we are all the same, but very, very different, because each and every one of us holds such a unique signature, such a unique frequency that is not like the other. And so it's like what I was being shown when the wave hit, as soon as it hit everybody in this plane that we're on, as soon as it hit everybody, it's like every single individual within their soul family, the whole universe, was singing their unique signature. And I don't remember the exact tone was it that was being played, but right before I woke up, there was like I looked at the last person or the last family in the section of the family in the universe or whatever. It's hard for me to describe it, but they were singing this tone, and I was like, oh wow, that was so beautiful. Like that tone that family was playing or whatever. And yeah, it just woke me up. It's like, celebrating that we've finally made it back, or the end. Like, this was the end of it all. It was a big celebration. And I mean, I've been getting these knowings. Other people have been getting these knowings, obviously, with the comments, with the, similar dream with the wave coming, so I don't know. I'm tuning more into my knowing, and also what everybody else is tuning into as well. Everybody's coming to the same damn conclusion, so it's not necessarily that one person saying it. If one person was saying it, then cool. But it's like everybody's coming to the same conclusion, and it's not just the same conclusion of like, okay, this is, and energetically and stuff like that. But it's just they're done. They're tired. They don't want to be here. They don't want to participate in this shit anymore. Everybody's good. Yeah. No one wants to do this shit. No one wants to continue to be a slave. Maybe some people do. If you do, then you create your own little pocket realm of your own enslavement, if that's what you wish to, your full expression wishes to experience. But yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think we're all done. But it's over. This is game over. This is the last time, and this experience never gets repeated again. That's an absolute 100% knowing for me, from my experiences that I've had. And also the knowing that I came in here with, that this is the last time I would be here, and this is the last time this place happens. So when this is done and it's over for good. There's no repeating this ever again. Game over. Hold on. Game over. Mic drop.
Next week, going to try and do this via Zoom as well, so that, because I like interaction, I like hearing from you guys, not just having to read comments. So we're looking into that this morning, which was part of our technical difficulties, but or on another platform or something. So I will, if we do it via Zoom, I'll post a link in the community tab on YouTube, and obviously in the Telegram group, but just so that we can make it a little bit more interactive. Yeah, see how many people are hearing the tones. The tones have changed. They're hearing, becoming a bit more clairaudient.
Also, how many people are waking up consistently at 3-4 o'clock? Oh, I would personally want to know that as well.
There's two senses that seem to be really switching on with people, and it's the clairaudience, and it's something to do with the nose and smelling things. It can be anything from like flowers and perfume, and there's just no source for it. Sometimes it can smell like an electrical fire or a chemical burn of some sort. That one's not very nice. Again, no source for these smells, and they're fleeting. But and we've been here before. So it's like everything's going up another notch. So for some people, they're getting this for the first time. Others are going through it again, and it's just getting more intense. Cycles as we spiral down the drain. I hear the scotch pouring into the glass. People have heard singing and music. Oh, I woke up saying the Ellie hymn this morning. What was the name you got the other day? Yes, please.
What?
Oh, you got Seraphim. Didn't you? Didn't you wake up with Seraphim?
What I've got is all right. There are, all right, if we're still playing the game of hierarchy, then when you look at the sets of Ra, Seraphims, and of the highest planes of the most consciously evolved souls of the highest planes have incarnated here. You have, when people talk about all the ancestor shit, our ancestors, we are the fucking ancestors. We're here. We're reincarnated in these bodies right now. Your ancestors, those past people that people still look up to, we're all here. Every single one of us are here. That's sets of Ra, the Seraphims, the highest angelic beings have all incarnated here. A good 90% of us are here. And so when people end up saying, oh, well, our ancestors, or people say, like, what's another one? What is his name? The angel, Archangel
Michael.
Yeah. When people say Archangel Michael and all that shit, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, because it's like all of those souls are here. Every single one of them are here. And that last 10% have stayed as, sort of like to manage things in the background. They didn't necessarily want to do that. But every single highly evolved soul is here at this moment to help in this transition. And that's including Seraphims, Ra, sets of Ra, all of it. Every single one of us. We are the ones that we have been waiting for. I know it sounds cliche, but it's absolutely true.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Even people who have no concept of this narrative, I agree. They know something's about to pop, and they are done. They just don't know what it's going to look like. I mean, we don't really even know what it's going to look like. They can feel it. And I've had people, just two in the recent weeks, who kind of know that Lisa's weird, but never really looked into my stuff. Reach out and go, where can I find all your information? I need to catch up. I'm like, oh, okay, over here. Oh, dearest Lisa, I've been following you and Danny since 2016 with the Mandela Effect. Keep going. We all love you. Much love. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, everyone's overdone. I get it. And we're in overtime, as far as I can. When Biden got in, that for me was absolute confirmation. And I kept calling it, we're Biden time. And that came up again the other day. We're in overtime. This thing, and actually Lulu said it, 2020 was the last. And when that all switched over, shortly after this current narrative kicked in, we're in overtime, and that's why I think we're feeling the way we are, is because, and this came up in oh my god, we had a 5.5 hour Telegram live call, which was brilliant. It came up in that too, that the reason I think a lot of us are feeling the way we are, like we're just so done, and we can't get all the things that used to give us joy, or we could give energy to, that we just don't even have it for that anymore. There's nothing that we want to start. There's nothing we want to build. There's nothing we want to create. It's because our personal scripts are done, and we're just in overtime now. The collective script still has to play out a little bit, but it's like our personal ones. We've played our scripts out. Lessons have been learned. It's over. Yeah. Looking at the government in Australia, it does appear they're just pissing in the wind, like they're done and they know it. I mean, we were warned by home that the proverbial they will continue right up until the very end. So, I don't expect the bullshit to stop, or any sort of, hands up. This is all, lots of people waking up between 3 and 4 days. Oh, wow. And I can't get back to sleep most of it. Oh, Viv, you're not getting to sleep till that time. Okay. Okay, if you would be getting those smells too. Yeah, is. Oh, you got the electrical fire one? Yeah, I know. It's had me searching around the house a few times. There's a few of you getting the burning one. Well, thank you, Mary. Okay. Man, sorry, I'm trying to keep up with this chat, but it's pretty intense. Oh, I can't. I'm just going to have to, go to the end. I missed a heap. I'm usually I'm doing both, actually. I'll have 2 or 3 nights where I'm waking up at 3 or 4 in the morning, can't get back to sleep. And then I'll have 1 or 2 nights of 9 or 10 hours. And I don't do that either, normally. Oh, do you know Jalik? Yeah, last 3 nights, no sleep at all. Yeah, Darius makes a good coffee.
Professional over here.
Oh, hello, Wayne. Lovely to see you. It's not Bailey's and whipped cream. That sounds kind of sickening, actually.
Oh, Bailey's. What in the coffee?
Bailey's and whipped cream. Ah, okay. Someone's got burning, but it's clearly cigarettes and we don't smoke. I smell it at all hours and even while driving, which is new. Yeah, there is something going on with the senses for sure. Switching up a notch.
I haven't smelled any. Yeah, no, I haven't had anything going on with my senses. I've just had like the colors in the sky and stuff like that, which everybody has seen. I think so far. Of like all the colors in the sky sometimes are verbatim of what you would see when you cross over to the other side or you come out of your body. It's like some of those. It's like the blending of colors that just don't exist. Well, they exist here now, but they didn't in the past. But yeah.
I so wish all you were saying were true or close, but haven't we heard all this before and been here so many times? I'm going to say yes and no to that. I think we forget where we were 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, individually and as a collective. We acclimatize really well to, well, good and bad. And we just forget. We forget where we were. And which is why it's frustrating to keep saying we've never been here before, because we haven't been here before. It's constantly moving and evolving and changing. But the yes part of that for me is that we are doing it in not loops, but a spiral. And the themes are the same. But every time we go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So yeah, it feels like same old, same old. We've been here before. And we kind of have. But it's at a different level. The themes are the same. The issues are the same. The circumstances and events are often similar. But it's at a deeper and deeper level within us and a higher and higher level within the overall picture. That's how I feel about it. I know that some of the things that are happening for me at the moment have never happened before. Same with him. Same with a bunch of people. And we can't say that the world is the same or that nothing's happening.
That's what I was going to say. But.
Because so much is happening.
Yeah, we've never been in a time, well, yeah, well, we haven't, where the entire world has been locked down and all that stuff. And so, yeah, like I've said this before as well, like there are many people that have said in the past, oh, it's happening. And I've been desensitized to that word as well. But at the same time, you can't ignore, right? Unless you're willingly ignoring what has taken place. Well, there's another word for that as well. But if you're willfully ignoring this, then you're in ignorance of that. We've never been here. We've never been here before at this current state of where this system is, of where people's consciousness is. Right before the whole lockdown, there's a massive amount of people awakening all around the world, to the point where even people that you wouldn't even expect to be talking about certain things were bringing up certain things. Right. So, yeah, I don't think we are at a time where we are right now has never happened before, ever. And it will continue to get even more in your face, as it has been for the last 2 years so far. And it's going to continue to do that until it's at that breaking point where it just flips over and changes, you know? Yeah.
Sarah Ann, Bailey's and Cointreau. Not Zamburger, but I don't mind Zamburger.
But also at the same time, all right, this is probably hanging myself right now. But you know, I'm also completely self-aware that this may just continue fucking going on, you know? So people that are in desperation right now, I wouldn't hang on to anything of what people are saying. Me, Lisa, fucking Yellow Rose, and that 12-year-old boy. Don't hang on to anything that people are saying in particular, because if you're hanging on to what we're saying or anybody else is saying outside of yourself, then this goes into the whole thing again, that even with the God and giving your power away, you're giving your power away all the time if you put what we say or anybody else as the truth. Like, oh, I need to wait until somebody tells me. You're just giving it away. I would anymore. I just step into how I feel. Can this really continue? Is it really changing? And if I feel that, then that's what I know what's happening, because I feel it, right? And people just have to tune into that instead. And then when they tune into that, they could look outside of themselves to see, is the rest of the collective actually seeing what I'm feeling as well? And if the rest of the collective is also feeling what you're feeling as well, then I say you're on a pretty, it's, yeah, you're tuning into the correct, well, yeah.
Well, I also think, like what we were talking about earlier. See, I've got very similar. I mean, what Rose's description is very similar to the one that I've got. Is that everybody gets pulled, and this place blows. I call it kabooey. This place goes kabooey. But how conscious are we of it? And because I think we've already been pulled a few times and moved, right? And we weren't conscious of it at the time, but that was on purpose. And that the final pull will be conscious for some, because the whole point of all of these moves was to put us in a space where we would have more time in order to be able to cope, being more conscious of the process. That there are plenty who aren't, and everyone's kind of going, we're not all landing in the same place, but I see it more as neighborhoods within the same place. And they will take whatever they're attached to, whatever their narrative is, whatever they're invested in, goes with them, with their backstory. I call it the backstory. So it's like a lot of the things that we're seeing happening now, for me, are the building blocks of people's backstories that they'll take with them. And now I know I completely understand how crazy all this sounds. I'm not in denial of that. But it's the only thing that actually makes sense to me.
Yeah, and also what you said before, like she's like none of us here don't sit there and question ourselves. I mean, because I mean we do all the time, but it's, you know, it's tuning into that feeling. Like there are experiences that Lisa cannot deny, and many people cannot deny, including myself. There's experiences that I've had, like the out of body experiences that I've had, which is basically a near death experience, that I can't deny what I saw, the knowing that I have, and from that. And so, I mean, we are living in an illusion of it's literally like the Matrix. Like we are living in a illusion of it's a copy of the true reality. Because when you are outside of this body, it is you are more physical, more dense, and more real than your physical body, if you can imagine that. But it's all the pleasure of physicality with no limitations. You can do whatever you want, right? With the pleasures of the physical side of things. You could touch things, you could walk through, you could open up portals. You get access to everything once you exit the body. And to be honest with you, if someone were to leave their body or exit the body, and like I've had this, we did a talk with Hamish. Remember that, Lisa? It was a video with Hamish, and basically, like, if I popped out of my body and someone stole my body sleeping on the bed and I didn't realize, and if I didn't look at my body sleeping on my bed, and I just thought that I woke up and it wasn't there, I would think that I'm perfectly living a physical life, and I wouldn't even be aware until I wouldn't be able to communicate with people and stuff like that. So the pool is like, it's not going to be like, if it is, we get pulled and your soul gets pulled out of your body. When it gets pulled out, you're gonna be like, holy fuck, this is amazing. Like it's like, honestly, it is fucking amazing when you cross over to the other side. There's no burden, there's no worry, there's nothing that you have to do or be over there beside yourself. And you are truly free to do as you wish when you get pulled out of your body. So to me, that's I mean, I would much prefer to be there, but there's, even when I'm there, right? Even when I pop out of my body and I'm over on the other side, there's this soul desire to come back, because what's taking place here is never going to happen again. What takes place here never repeats again. So it's like, that's why there's so many souls fucking here at the moment. That's why there's so many people awake at the moment, because we're all here, because we know this is never happening again. And to miss whatever takes place, what is actually taking place right now, is a great loss on your soul experience. This adds to you by so much than what I still can't comprehend when we leave this place, because this has never happened, where this whole, whatever is taking place here has never happened in the entire universe, in all creation, in all of its history, has never taken place. So why the hell would you want to miss it?
Yeah. I know from what Holmes said, one of the reasons we've had to go into overtime too is they had to be sure of everybody's identity in a way. That, let's say, positive heart source beings from home had a energetic signature overlay on them that made them look like bad guys. And bad guys had an energetic overlay signature on them that made them look like good guys. And that even home was shocked to discover some of those. And so they've been checking, double checking, and triple checking because nothing gets through. Nothing that doesn't belong gets through. Which is why I think there's talk in the sort of anon circles around, you know, who's a black, who's a white, who's a grey, who's a double agent, who's a this, who's a that. That is the 3D play out too of this movie that we're watching, of what's had to go on that energetic level of making sure that it was known who's who in the friggin' zoo. There's been distortions and overlays on our signatures. And once, I mean, maybe it's similar to what Rose talks about with the seal. I don't really relate to that, but maybe it's similar, where it's like once they've absolutely confirmed your identity, your signature, and you're from home, there's kind of a lock on you, like a GPS lock. And that's why you're maybe not moving around. You can't move house. You can't leave your location too far, because you've been locked.
There's a reason for it all.
Yeah, there's a reason for it all.
Even the perceived negative stuff it's all working towards that one, for the benefit of all, to wake people up. I mean, everything's coming to the surface right now. I mean, there's stuff that's coming to the surface that like for a lot of people never even known was there, even though they're awake to a lot of things. So it's like everything is coming to the surface to be seen, so you could see it. You could see it for what it is. Yeah, everything's going to be shown for exactly what it is. Everybody's going to see themselves for who they are. All right. And you're the biggest judger of yourself outside of this place as well. No one's judging you and like giving you an ultimatum. You judge yourself, and you judge yourself of the love that you withheld here, essentially, is what you're judging when you're on the other side. That's you judging yourself, no one else. So there was
Why incarnate then? That's part of the bigger narrative for me. What I understand is that this place, when originally created, wasn't like this. It was infected with a virus. You could say that. A mind virus. And people were trapped and couldn't get out. The only way to end this game was for a whole bunch of people from outside to come in. It had to be done from within the construct because it was kind of locked, which is what Doris was referring to earlier. We are the ones we've been waiting for, because it's us, the bigger part of us. Oh my goodness. Saving ourselves. We are saving ourselves. And those that we lost in here. What are you doing? And to some extent, yeah, I think every physical density kind of reality is to some extent a creation, or a construct, or a realm. They all feel like they are created environments, which is not necessarily a bad thing, unless they, like this one, something goes wrong. I think the only thing that's not is, source, really. But even then, I don't feel, or based on the information, the conversations I've had with home, Even in source, you don't lose your sense of self or identity or whatever you want to call it, or your particular perspective as a perspective. But yeah, people freak out when I say things like it's just, home or outside of here is another construct or another creation. But this one was unique. And this one had something terribly wrong. Go with it. That's my take on it all.
Well, this experience was the first time. This creation was the first time that you had a soul completely forget what it was. Its connection to itself. Even though you never lost it, you never lost that connection. But this was the first time that an experience like this has taken place, where a soul will incarnate into a realm where it, in a sense, loses its connection, or because every other place, when you exit and you leave this place, through my out of body stuff, through my experience with Celeste, you don't lose that. You could go over to the other side and you could open up portals. You could travel interdimensionally through all of creation and enter into different realms and experience those, but you do not lose the understanding of who you are, what you are, where you came from, what this place is all about. You retain all that information, all that memory. So this was the first creation that was ever created, that you lose that, right? And when you lose that, right, and this is me theorizing here, right, with this, because I don't know for an absolute fact. I can't remember it anyways. But when you lose that sense of not remembering who you are, because you are an infinite Godhead creator, right? You are it. You are the God. You are the creator. You are everything. Because you are so powerful, when you forget who you are in a realm like this, you sort of create your own prison and lock yourself in here. And you can't escape it until you remember who and what you really are. And how do you remember who and what you really are when you've been reincarnated in here and looped in here and recycled in here over and over and over and over and over again? How do you remember it? There's only one way to remember that. It's to get assistance and get help. And souls come in from higher planes into here to anchor themselves as pillars of light all over this plane that we're in. And we raise it. Not necessarily that even the people that have been stuck here for a long time, they don't necessarily even have to do the work. But it's just a simple fact that we've anchored so much light in this plane. As we increase our consciousness, as we increase our understanding, we unlock it for everything here. So what we're doing here, even though it doesn't necessarily seem like a lot, the simple fact that we are awakening to our divinity of who and what we really are, we do it for everybody else. We imprint that frequency into this plane, and the people that have forgot who they are and they are so asleep, they have no other choice but eventually to wake up as well. All right. So just our presence, the little things that we do here, anchoring our light here, we increase this plane's energetic frequency to allow those souls that have been stuck here for such a long time to also exit, to also awaken, to also remember. Because you cannot, as an infinite Godhead creator, the only way to escape a prison that we created is to become more than what we were before we created it. So if we created this place, which we have to become more and greater than what we were before we created it in order to fix it. And that's what we've done. That's why I talked about before, like even the when you leave this place and when you exit this place, right? Not being here at this moment, like a lot of souls want to be here. And I've been given the chance to leave many times through out-of-body experiences. My experience with Celeste when I was a kid, I've been given the chance to leave many times. But it was when she showed me that, okay, this is what's going to take place. Because it never takes place again, this experience adds to your soul by so much. So it's also, yeah, it's a very deep desire to come here and to assist in this event that never takes place again. Did I say that correctly in that long rant? Oh, hope I did.
Well, it's your perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Just my perspective.
Okay, why would someone forget who they are? Again, this is just my perspective and understanding. Back in 2011, I had an experience, and I'd never thought about the moon before. I thought it was what we were told it was. I had an experience where I saw all of these points of light on the earth light up at once and go to and just sort of like send this energy to the moon. And I was shown what I call the rinse and repeat facility. It was like a huge recycling center on the moon. And that when we die from here, we were caught, we were trapped, that the white light, all of that is bullshit, and it's a trap to lure us into the recycling facility where we are literally mind wiped, fractaled where possible, and reincarnated, thrown back into the system. We could not get out. Very few people got out. And that would happen over and over and over and over again. And that light that was sent from the planet blew that facility up. And it was all like our heart source code just blew the place up. From my own experience and perspective, what I noticed after that was the orb phenomenon really kicked in. You know, it got to the point where you couldn't take a photo without orbs in it. And that to me said that people weren't being recycled anymore, but they still weren't leaving the construct as such, because the construct itself was still locked. And then in 2016, it was like the doors were opened at that level. And the orb phenomenon just started to really, actually it kind of faded out pretty quick. And now they're kind of rare. And that to me would also coincide with what Holmes said about cleaning out what we call the astral. Because no one was really getting out. That's what I understand. When we were moved into, how do I put this? Because I feel like I've said it so many times over the years, but okay. I talk in computer language because that's easy for me. So if we're in a video game, just for the sake of calling it that, on a hard drive, that hard drive is what was infected and corrupted and locked from within the programming of the hard drive. And if at the end of 2012, instead of shutting that hard drive down, because it was known that the minds wouldn't cope, because they were so heavily programmed, so deeply recycled over and over and over and over again, that they just would not have coped with shutting the game off. What could be done was transferring the contents of the hard drive, all the files within it, onto a new hard drive, a fresh, uncorrupted hard drive that could be accessed from home, so to speak. If that happened at the end of 2012 or around then, and then we start to see all the Mandela effects and everything as the files are being transferred, not all of the timelines were brought over, so to speak. They were merged. A lot of extraneous ones were dropped. The more negative ones were dropped. We were able then to join the game, incarnate, whatever you want to say, walk in under the radar, a little bit more under the radar. And that's why we've got kids who seem to remember a lot more. We seem to be remembering a lot more because more of us is coming in with memories intact. It still has to kind of integrate with this. So it's still hitting blocks. But does that all make sense?
Just to me.
What was the original question? Why would we? Yeah. Okay. So this is going to be my simple answer to that. The reason why we created a place like this, why would we choose to create a place where we forget who we are?
We didn't choose to.
No, I think that we chose to create this game, and then when we created it, going off your narrative as well, that it got infected and all that stuff, right? So I'm just going to answer the question that why would we choose to create a place like this and incarnate, like created a place where we forget who and what we really are? Well, it's simple. If we are infinite creators and we are infinite beings and we live on forever, which we are eternal, we can do as we wish. If you have experienced and created experiences that basically your imagination could, like, you've already experienced everything that you could imagine, right? This creation was essentially, well, what would it be like to experience what we are not? We've never experienced that. That's never been experienced, to experience what we are not, forgetting who we are completely. We didn't disconnect ourselves, but in a sense, disconnecting from our divinity, our Godhead of us being infinite gods, right? We created this place to experience what we are not. And in the process of experience what we are not and creating, because like I said before, in the last thing I said, because we are infinite creators, because of that, we also, by incarnating here and forgetting who we are, we, in a sense, imprisoned ourselves in our own creation. Because by forgetting who we are, we then created a loop for ourselves. And in order to break that, we have to become greater and better than what we were before we created this domain. So in a sense, by us increasing our consciousness to such the state that we have now and understanding who and what we really are, what is on the other side of this is something that has never been experienced before, because in a sense, we are souls that are now homeless, because even the home that we were at before we came here, we're no longer energetically tuned to that environment. So there has to be something that is, because we've outgrown it, because us as souls have outgrown who we were before we came here. So what's new is also the unimaginable. What's being created new now is the unimaginable, something that has never been experienced before, which is the ultimate expression of a soul with zero limitations and more than that.
I mean, discussions get pretty heated around here because we're not even on the same page about everything.
Yeah.
But
hold on. I want to show this.
What?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Darius's right husband. Yeah, I'm Joe Biden's husband. That was looking hilarious when he said that.
Okay, what? Okay, so we've got different perspectives on this, but so for me,
ping pong off each other as well too. So,
huh?
We just ping pong off each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, there was the original construct, the original game, the original wasn't meant to be this fucked up thing where you are trapped and harvested and you forget who you are and all of that. To me, it wasn't. So the people who were in here when whatever went down were stuck and trapped. So there's that geographic of people. They're the ones who have been through the rinse and repeat cycle many, many times. Over the years, many people have come in to try and help fix it. Also got caught up in it, lost in the system. And that it was only once we did the transfer that we were able to come in bringing more knowledge, more memory, more knowing, more awareness with us. Because even coming into this place, you had to go through that moon facility. It was like everyone was funneled through it to come in here. The Saturn moon matrix, as Ike calls it. It was like our consciousness was forced to go through this path to come in. And veils put on in the process. But I don't believe that's what was originally intended. But as he was talking about, we've been told that the home that we all left and the various homes, because we've all come from all over the place, has also had to evolve because, like you said, we have evolved. This experience, whether we asked for it or not, whether we volunteered for it or not, the experience itself has, like you said, we've changed, we've grown, we've evolved, we've experienced something never experienced before and never will again. So it can become an opportunity for an incredible growth.
Yeah.
And that we can't go back to where we were because we're not a match to it, and it had to evolve too, so that we've got somewhere to go, that we can that we're a frequency match for, that we can. So from what I understand, all of creation's pretty much been rearranged as a result of this experience in here. And that Source has done something and is doing right now and has done something brand new as a result.
Yeah, I mean, just a simple fact, right? Just a simple fact that we've experienced something that has never been experienced before. We as a soul, our consciousness completely changes. We're totally different. We're totally different beings on the other side of this than the beings that we came in here as. Totally different, right? Because it's almost like saying, okay, you as a soul, you incarnate in an experience that you've never experienced before, but you're no different. You're going to change, just like you change all throughout your life here, right? And you forget who and what you really are, but you do change with certain experiences that you have. But there's what has taken place here is as far as you could go, disconnecting from who and what you really are as you possibly can go. And just that of its own, I mean, you are going to become much greater than what you were before you incarnated here. And because of that, you're not going to go back to your old place back home, what people call back home, because you're not an energetic match for that anymore. And so even what Source, right? Source creating something new. At the end of the day, that's us. Like all of us individually, collectively, when we are sleeping, we are crossing over to the other side, whether we're conscious of it or not. We are going to the other side every single night when we go to sleep. We are the ones that are creating the new thing, the unimaginable. All of us, through all of our experience, we are creating the unimaginable. So, and that's pretty much. I mean, for me, my knowing as well, you cannot have an experience or a creation of any kind where a soul cannot fully and honestly express itself in freedom, right? Because if there is a 1% condition placed on a soul, then it's not free. Just like there's no difference between a 99% slave and a 1% slave. It's either you are a slave or you're not a slave. You are free or you're not free. And you cannot have ultimate expression of freedom with a condition. And so the new is no conditions placed on you, the soul. You should be able to experience as you wish, whatever you want to experience. What you think is instantly there right in front of you. You are an infinite, never die soul, being, eternal. You should have the freedom to do as you wish with no conditions attached to you. I mean, that's what I've gained out of this experience. That no soul should have a condition. It should be free. Every single soul should be free, unless it chooses to have a condition placed on it, which is its expression of freedom as well. But I mean, yeah, any limitation is for me is needs to be, well, that's the new moving beyond any limitation, any condition, stepping into ultimate expression of freedom, which is not experienced here whatsoever. And everything that's coming to the surface right now is to show us all of the ways that we have been controlled here as well. Right? And it's so many layers to it, which then by seeing it, you have no choice but to grow and evolve and become greater than what you were before you came here as well.
I'm a bit confused about some of the comments. I'm not sure it's there responding to other things. It's a bit out of sync for me. I don't think we're experiencing more evil. I think we're just seeing what's always been here. All will be seen. Light will be shone in all the dark places. I don't actually think that it's getting worse. I think we're just seeing what's always been, and seeing what's always been planned. And they've had to, because we're in this overtime, and the whole idea is to burn up all the fuel. And so all the narratives have just been sped up. And in doing so, it's more public, it's more in your face, it's more exposed. And I mean, what we're talking about, the level of corruption and the ugly, ugly stuff that we know goes on has always gone on. It's not new. It's what keeps the cogs moving in this place. So I don't see it as things getting worse. I just see it as things getting seen.
Yeah, I think all of the like I don't feel anymore like the bad guys have control anymore. And right now it's all of their tools that they use to control the souls here are all being presented and seen and dismantled. And to be honest with you, a lot of people, even that are still awake, still rely and want those very tools of control still to be in place. Because, you know, like, number one thing is money. There are still souls that are apparently awake that feel that we still need a new monetary system. We still need money. And they don't understand, as long as money exists in any form, there's always going to be have and have-nots. And that is a limitation on freedom. You cannot have a tool that has been designed to enslave souls and say, but we're going to create a new one. It's going to be a gold and silver-backed currency. It's going to be Nasara Dashar, or whatever that, right? Any money of any kind is control. Is it not, Lisa?
Yes.
Yeah. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm not laughing at you. It's almost like that. I'd be a better dictator.
Me?
No, like
Yeah, the money. Yeah, the money thing. It's like it's basically like saying what Lisa just said. Like, all these people and the new people saying, "Oh, we're going to add a new form of money." It's basically saying, "Yeah, I'll be a better dictator, but I'll put you in a prison with with shinier bars. It's a little bit bigger, you know. You get a little bit more freedom, right? Any money is literally, you are not free. If there's money placed in the equation, you are not free as a soul. There's a limitation there placed on you. And the ultimate expression of freedom, right? If there's any condition placed on you, any limitation, you are not free. You can't, you cannot have that. You cannot have any limitations or conditions when it comes to freedom. You're either free or you're not free. And any form of money is a condition and limitation placed on you, the soul. So, I mean, and like I said before, some souls that are so-called awake don't even understand that basic concept of freedom yet. And they still hold on to, and they try to grab and clash onto, but no, I don't want that to go because I still love being a slave. That's what you're really saying. You still enjoy being a slave, and you still enjoy you becoming better over the suffering of others. It's either you stand in the side of freedom, and when you stand on the side of freedom, this is why a lot of souls also have trouble with this as well, is because when you stand in freedom for yourself, that also means that you need to stand in freedom for all creation, every single soul. And you cannot say, okay, I support freedom, but yeah, we still need money. Yeah, we still need these forms of control systems that they've used. You can't do that, because you're supporting enslavement of souls.
well, I don't think anyone in this chat is.
No. When I talk, I get animated because I'm very passionate about what I talk about. But I'm just speaking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I know what you're doing.
Yeah. Preaching to the damn choir. That's what I'm doing.
I'm laughing at the discussion over my my smoking. What has been explained to me in regards to freedom directly from home is that this place was an experiment, and it was an experiment based on free will, and that we have misunderstood free will and think it means freedom. It's not the same thing. And there's a lot of talk about free will and our free will. But free will does not require a collaboration from the heart. It's literally, thy will be done, regardless of the consequences and effects on others. And it's potentially what led to the virus. Freedom is a different frequency. Some people think that freedom means you can just do whatever you want. like we've flipped what freedom and free will means. Yeah, basically, we flipped it. If I started cursing and belittling you, you would block me. That's a limitation. Relationships come with conditions and limitations. Well, I could also say that if you started cursing and belittling me, you would not be coming from, well, firstly, that would be you, in my understanding, expressing your free will to do so without any consideration for the effect or repercussions. If you were completely coming from your heart, and a space of allowing us both the freedom to express different opinions, you wouldn't resort to belittling. That's my take on it.
Yeah, you want to just mute out this? This is very simple to understand this, and if you think about it long enough, you'll fully understand it. You cannot have ultimate expression of freedom with a condition, just like you cannot have unconditional love with a judgment. They go hand in hand. There is no freedom with conditions. There is no unconditional love with judgments. And what we move forward into, what I'm moving forward into, is that, right? That's what I've also been shown on the other side as well. Ultimate expression of a soul, truly free, with no conditions placed on you, the soul, because you can't be free if there's a condition placed on you. Because what that is, if there's one condition placed on you, you're not free, you're a slave. And if you place conditions or judgments on other people, then you're not actually acting in unconditional love, because you're judging. Typically because you don't understand, right? And I'm going to say this, a lot of souls that have experienced the extremes, right, of the unlovable things, right, they don't have conditions on souls that you know, it's almost like, what's the best way to explain this? You could understand unconditional love without this, but in order to really be unconditional love, you as a soul would have to have experienced the unlovable things. You would have had to have experienced the most unlovable events. Because how could you possibly love unconditionally if you haven't experienced the unlovable things?
This is one of those points we disagree on.
Yeah, of course we do. And the people could disagree with me on this, with what I'm saying right now. That's fine. But this is what I've come to. This is my own knowing of things. Not everybody agrees, and not everybody needs to agree with me.
No.
Yeah. But even if you disagree with that, right, then that's fine. But I don't think that people could disagree with this. You cannot have freedom with a condition. You cannot have ultimate expression of freedom with a condition, just like you cannot have judgment when it comes to unconditional love, right? I really don't think people could disagree with that. But. Same thing. So like when I'm talking about conditions, it's limitations. So you cannot have ultimate expression of freedom with a condition slash limitation. Just like you cannot have unconditional love with a judgment. You can't say, I love you unconditionally, but I judge you for this. You're not loving unconditionally, are you? You can't say, yes, you are free to do as you wish, but you can't do this. I'm going to place this limitation on you. You're not free. You're hindered by limitations and conditions.
All right, there's random and sporadic comments in regards to the, I just call it the current narrative we're living under. In a way, it was like a litmus test. It was like okay, everybody hands up and show the level of programming you're under so we know where to start. And it worked. There was another comment in there about parasites. I think all illness and disease in the body is a result of parasites. And what we're calling the CV actually started in 2019, and it is us collectively going through a parasite detox. And that it was known that we would be going through this detox. That we would be shedding the mind virus. We also everything has a representation and a play out in the physical. So the physical parasites are a representation of the mind parasite, the mind virus. So as we were purging that, and our bodies are riddled with them. So unless you've done regular parasite detoxes, and most adults don't. So collectively, we've gone through this parasite detox, and that's why people were getting sick. And it was known that this was going to happen, and it was completely utilized by both, I'll say both sides, white and dark, for their own means. But I do think that predominantly, as tragic as some individual stories are, and as many people are leaving kind of en masse, like we haven't seen for a long time, if before, that's their choice. That's how they've chosen to exit. How do I think that's it on that. But that's the way I feel about it.
Feel about what exactly?
About the current narrative that we're living under, about CV and everything that's going on. We are purging, we are clearing, we are cleaning ourselves up. We are leaving this space behind, and we need to purge it.
Yeah. Well, it was a it was a crowning event, anyways. Like if you look at the word, a CV, it was a crown. Everybody's receiving their crown. Yeah. If I started cursing.
Oh, yeah, we've dealt with that one.
There's
I think that people who are leaving are either finished with their mission or can't handle processing their denials. To me, yeah. And they're those who maybe would not cope very well with their a very conscious transfer or pull or whatever. I'm convinced it's our memories that keep us bound to this realm, and most of us are experiencing a purge of these attachments. Yes, we are. A lightening of the load, so to speak. And how many movies have we seen lately that show or depict that we're in a virtual reality situation? The one with Selma Hayek in it, I can't remember what it's called, but that was the most obvious about, I mean, he chooses to stay in the construct because of his attachment to his construct daughter who does not actually exist. And the fact that the whole the term NPCs went mainstream. Bliss, yeah, that's the one. Lisa, did you get CV hallucinations? No. Not that I remember. Yeah, exactly. Her announcement to me is the end of that Crown Corona process.
Yeah, let's mute out real quick. I know this is on YouTube, so I have to be careful. But CV was a crowning event, and they tried to use it as a tool of fear, right? When you're in fear, that lowers, and I fucking hate using these terminologies, like lowers your frequency, your base. I hate using that, but fear lowers your frequency. And so they use that as a tool to get people in fear, because what's taking place is you cannot stop it, right? It's going to happen regardless, but you can slow it down. And their attempt was to slow down the inevitable of what was going to take place, or try to prevent it as much as they can by putting people in fear. That's why the juice that people have been taking, right, what was designed to slow down them from getting that crown, right? And people that got sick and all that stuff, it's because they were purging things within themselves so that they could receive their own crown. I mean, this was a purity event. The CV was a purity event of everybody receiving their crown, right? It's a celebration, because when you exit here, everybody's receiving their crowns. It's a purity event. So, yeah. But they twisted it. They twisted it into, obviously, fear this, fear that, put people in fear, delaying literally all the solar flares, human resonance, all that stuff. When you take a look at it, it's everybody's frequency is increasing to such a rate where, it's like we're seeing, people are seeing things in the sky. I believe that has always been there, but it's like you couldn't see what was always there, because they've lowered the frequency of this vessel so much that you can't see what was already there. So all these people now are seeing things or experiencing things that have always been there, that they could always experience, because their consciousness, their frequency is increasing. But CV, taking the juice, was to suppress that and keep it low and slow that process of the process down of them awakening fully and receiving their crown. But You can't stop the inevitable because no matter what they do, this is why I don't believe they're in control anymore at all, or feel they're in control anymore. It's because, yeah, everybody is receiving it to this day. And even the people that have taken that are slowly but surely coming to the realization of everything else as well. So some of them not. Some of them are just exiting, leaving early. But I mean, it doesn't really matter because a lot of people are in such sadness that people are leaving early. And it's like, there's no sadness when people leave. Like, I understand, yeah, death and then you losing someone close to you and stuff like that. But it's like, I'll tell you right now, when they leave, right? Let's just say if you had someone personal in your life that have taken this and they die. When they leave, I'm telling you, this is what they're doing. Why the fuck are you crying? This is amazing over here. Like I'm staying over here because it's all the pleasures of physicality with no limitation. Like it is so blissful over there when you're there. It's like they're looking at you in this state of they're all leaving. They're like, why are they acting like that? They're looking at you like a child. Like, what? Why the fuck are you crying over this? I mean, you're going to be here very soon, and you're going to see it for what it is as well. This is amazing. Just keep on doing what you're doing. Like you don't need to be sad for the people that are crossing over, even if their decision was done out of pure ignorance and unknowing, because they're seeing it all on the other side when they exit. When they die, they're seeing it all, everything for what it is. And they're not in shame. They're not in, I mean, they'll probably be in guilt because, they judge themselves, but they'll purge that on the other side as well. Everything that's taking place here, the people that have left are also purging that as well. They're going through their purity event, even on the other side. They're still receiving their crown. And they're in absolute bliss on the other side. Based off me being on the other side, what I remember of it, it's so amazing when you're there that really, I wouldn't want anybody crying if I ended up leaving here. Because I'll be like, what the fuck are you crying about? This is amazing over here. You'll join me shortly. You'll see it too. But yeah. Did you just unmute?
I am unmuted, yeah.
Were you muted that whole time?
Nope. Does everyone pass though? Read up a lot on the reincarnation trap cycle, etc. And to be honest, I somewhat believe it. Yeah, Vega, we actually went over that about half an hour ago. We've covered a lot of different things.
Anybody that's exiting now, hold on. Anybody that's exiting now is not reincarnating. They're not stuck in this reincarnation loop. Like this is the bad guys, whatever. They don't have control anymore. Especially not that anyways. Everybody that's leaving is leaving. They're exiting. They're going back to what we call home. Right? There's nothing nefarious happening when people leave here and exit. Was it in the past of the beginning of this, the looping reincarnation stuff? Yeah. And it's not happening now. These people are leaving, they're going home, and they're seeing it all for what it is. And they're actually standing for the first, well, not the first time, but they're truly standing and seeing it all. So.
Yeah, I think there is an element of that too, Woo Life, sorry. The memory wipes were to keep us safe from the enemy. It was too dangerous. That's played a big part because whatever we know, the system knows. Which is why we don't remember a lot of the experiences we have in dream time, and we just get fragments, or we're not given too much of a heads up on, especially now, on the next thing that's going to really play out, because you don't give the game plan away. Oh, nice. 0. The second time I did shrooms, when I realized my soul is literally made of the blissful home feeling, ever since then I haven't worried.
Also, Lisa, I just don't think there's anything to like the fears. I don't think there's anything to worry about.
Neither do I.
I'll just say it. So I don't know. I honestly don't feel there is anything to worry about. I personally don't like. I've known when I've came in here from a kid that there's nothing to worry about. That everything was going to be okay. And I mean, there's times where I will get off that path and start worrying about shit. I'm like, everything's gonna be fine. There's literally nothing to worry about. And that worry and that fear, it's just get rid of fear, doubts, and all that shit. Even though I personally still have some doubts sometimes, but it's just everything's gonna be just fine. And there's nothing that you need to do to access that which you already are. Everybody's returning back to that place. So
Dawn, that's incredible. And I know somebody who works in a pharmacy in the US, in a Walgreens pharmacy, in a town of about 10,000, and I think there's 6 pharmacies in the town. Last week, she was given 17 notifications that 17 of her patients passed. And that's just the ones who actually had a family member notify them. And that's one pharmacy. People are leaving en masse. And there is 2 ways to look at it. The bad guys are winning and they're murdering people. And they're doing their depopulation, and, you know, it's all terrifying and all of that. Or we are ending this game, and people are leaving the way they choose to leave, in whatever way their mind can handle. And that's the one that actually feels right to me. It's, in which case, we really are in the process of winding this up very quickly. I mean, we've got whistleblowers in many industries now coming out, from the insurance industry to the funeral industry, right across the different medical, that are talking about the numbers. But yeah, you're not going to see it on mainstream just yet. But there's only 2 ways to look at it, as far as I can see.
what does that mean? POW?
Prisoner of war. Perhaps Darius has a different experience in terms of not being a POW, like not feeling like you've been in here forever, trapped from the beginning. I don't think you do you? You don't feel like you have.
Well, I have
Been around a few times, but not.
Yeah. I mean, I have memories from many different lifetimes that now I thought were somewhere else, that could only be here, based off of all the stuff that has been coming out with Tartaria and the reset and stuff like that, and all of those timelines were actually very recent. So I mean, I do have memories of the last reset. If Tartaria and that, you know, has to do something with it, I do have memories of that I thought were from a totally different place. So, but not.
What do you think is our purpose here on Earth right now, as in right in this moment?
Just being the anchor, like
Yeah, I know it sounds lame and it sounds new age and it sounds stuff that we hate, but to bring in as much of you as possible, to be the brightest light as possible, to hold, ground and hold these energies, the codes that, and every time we do it, because we are collective, not hive, but collective. And the more we do that, and there's a resonance, and we're supporting the collective. And because I've got this visual, it's been there for ages, but like the starting line on a running track, and everyone's sort of moving their way up to this starting line. And it doesn't mean that everyone's going to be awake to the same level on all across the board on all subjects. Like they're going to. It doesn't mean that, but what it does mean is that they're at their own personal starting line, which means they've taken their mind as far as it can go without cracking and breaking. So we're doing that. We're supporting everybody in getting to their starting line. That's a really, you can feel it that you're in overtime on that one.
I know it definitely does sound new agey and stuff, like, you just being you, bringing more of your stuff in. And I hate new age stuff, by the way, because I realize what it is and what it's designed for. And like all the new age propaganda bullshit is literally, it's just fucking, it's been, what's a word for that? It's been taken over, manipulated.
Sorry, I was reading.
Like the whole new age.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Totally cool.
Yeah. It's been totally co-opted. So like light workers, increase your frequency. I hate using those words because it's been infiltrated and it's been manipulated in such a way to make you stand down. The whole new age shit is to make souls stand down, not stand. Because when you stand, being you, standing into your love and your frequency and your light is not this. Namaste. Oh, blessed be. Oh, yes, I love you. So that has nothing to do with that shit. You standing and being you is you being you. And it's you standing in your power, not standing down. And that whole new age light worker stuff, new age propaganda, chakra, do this practice, is designed to make you stand down and sit and obey and look up to and serve something other than yourself, and serve serve a higher thing and give your power away. When everybody needs to be standing in their own power and fully standing and encouraging other people to fully stand as well and not sit down. Right. That's why I hate using the word frequency. Increasing your frequency, increasing your energy, light worker, the event. Like I hate using those terminologies because it's totally infiltrated with this nonsense and bullshit, and it literally has nothing to do with that. It's just you being yourself is all you need to do. And do not mistake you being yourself of you having to put on this front of I am full love, I am full knowing. That's a front, that's a mask. Just be yourself. That's all you need to do. That's literally it. And the more people, and the more people do that, the better it's going to be, because I mean that acts as the pillars of light. So yeah.
Oh wow! 5 high school friends in the last 6 months all died in their sleep, all in their 50s, all took the lollipop. Yep.
Yeah, my dad's had I forget what you call it, but it's the funeral.
Funerals.
Yeah, that.
Oh, yeah, he knows someone in the funeral industry.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people that are passing, a lot. But I think that's all good as well. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
So that would mean that the horrors of what's happening in the construct by the psychopaths are in fact beneficial in that the Depop agenda is assisting in people leaving. Yeah. In a really kind of fucked up way, yeah. I mean, it's not like it was intended as a benevolent thing by the deep state by any means. I think it was designed to reinfest us with parasite, to mess with our DNA, because our map, our own personal map on where we're going, how do we get out of here, all of that, it's within us, it's within our DNA. And scrambling that was probably a last ditch hope to stop people from leaving, and not even stop them from leaving at the 3D level, but stop them from leaving the construct as a whole once they've left the body.
Do you remember, Lisa, in the files of the juice, they had like this long black.
There's all kinds of parasitic looking things in there.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, that has been corrected by home, I guess we'll say.
The dairies go through trauma this lifetime.
Oh, do you want to answer that?
No, I haven't. Well, I mean, could you consider all the stuff that I experienced when I was a kid, seeing all those beads?
I don't think anybody in here is without trauma.
Yeah.
Really. And I mean, no, I could say that some of the, not many, but say some of the NPCs I've met are blissfully without trauma. But no, I don't think any true human or soul being is without trauma in here. But again, it is a matter of degrees and perspective. Something that brought that home to me many years ago in a book I read from a psychologist was talking about a patient who was really repeating a lot of destructive cycles in her life. And under hypnosis or something, they came to a moment in her life where she was only 3 or 4 years old, and the family were walking into her house, walking back in the front door, and the wind or something, like mum and dad walked in and the door shut right in her face. That moment traumatized her so completely and created so many beliefs and programs in her that became something really quite destructive as she got older. But that same event could have been perceived as funny by somebody else and not left a hint of a scar. So trauma is as trauma is, and what's trauma to one person is not necessarily to another, and all of that. But I don't think anybody could say that they're untouched.
That's exactly what I was saying there. And I speak when I talk. Sometimes I get very animated because it comes from a lot of passion. So, but yeah, I feel a lot of New Age stuff is shaming and competitive. Yeah, the New Age stuff is total bullshit. It's literally, like I said before, designed to make people stand down. And
it's not complete. It's based on some truth.
Yeah, it's based on truth. Yeah, it's based on truth, absolutely. But it's totally coerced and manipulated. Instead of making you stand and empowered, it is designed to make you sit down and a servant, and you become harvested. A lot of these New Age people are so energetically harvested because it's like they're told to just be relaxed, be calm. And it's almost like someone's plugging into the back of the damn brain and sucking out all their fucking juice, all their energy. And they look like that too. They're like, yes. It's like they're drugged. They're underneath the spell. And people are not standing in this New Age propaganda. I'm going to call it propaganda bullshit at the moment. That's really what it is. But yeah, it's totally, and like the people that say, oh, well, like some people will be like, Darius, get rid of your ego. Man, you got so much ego. That's like, okay, cool. Well, I'll get rid of my ego and I'll replace it for a spiritual ego then. All right, here we go. Yes, my paddle ones, you are now. Yeah, I could replace it for another damn spiritual ego. I mean, it's just, yeah.
I do think we are putting our toes into that period of time of reap what you sow. Because someone's just said, we are sowing the seeds of our next incarnation, which brought that up. And there is going to be a period, I feel, of like it manifesting the reap what you sow thing. I don't think it'll be long, short and sharp. But it feels like we're heading into that too, which is probably part of this whole Technicolor October thing. I hope.
Where do you actually get the color or something like that as well?
The boots?
The slippers?
No, the slippers in the original book were silver.
Yeah, they're silver, but near the end they turn a different color.
No, in the book I don't know, but in the movie they're just red the whole time. As far as I remember, anyway. And where I get the Technicolor October was just the way my visuals work. So I see this started in June. Yeah. The calendar, like literally like an old wall calendar. I saw June, July, August, September, and it was all black and white, grayscale. And then October was just in Technicolor, and very much like The Wizard of Oz. You know, when she's in Kansas, it's in black and white, and she goes to Oz, it's in Technicolor, and that's the visual. And it feels like we're already in. It's like it's hitting a little early. It's already starting to hit. So that's where that came from. Hang out with me as I give you downloads. Yeah. I'm nowhere near as familiar with Rudolf Steiner's work as I'd like to be. Yes, it did do that, didn't it? As I said earlier, it was like a litmus test to just let's get a gauge on exactly how programmed everybody is, how deep. And we're still going through some serious IQ tests with some of the information, intel, storylines. I think some of them are an IQ test, to be honest. Oh, many in your town passing, usually 1 or 2 a week, now 15 to 20.
What from the juice? You think?
I'm assuming.
So why do you think, Lisa, that everybody now, like obviously you have, I'll just say this a little bit here.
Why do you think, Lisa, everything now that like 2 years later, why do you think now that everybody's passing?
Well, a couple of things. I think on a really practical level, probably about 80% of that first round, that first shot,
Be careful.
was innocuous, right? It was saline or something. And then probably, and the ones who got the real thing were the ones who were going straight away, because whatever it was pretty intense.
Yeah.
And then round 2 was probably about the same, because you couldn't have 100% of people reacting. I think the subsequent ones that you have, that it's probably more like 80% of those are the real thing. So, and it does seem to be timed. It depends on the individual, like what state they're already in physically. And I do think there's a variety of them, like they're not all the same.
Yeah.
So some of them are designed to not take you out straight away.
Just because I don't want to.
I know. This is why I hang on YouTube. They've got different ingredients and different purposes. But I think the whole thing had a time span of around 12 months to really sort of kick in. But yeah, I think it's about also the percentages of what was the real thing and what wasn't too.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, there's so many comments. I'm not catching up at all.
posted it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Join now for 1995, and I'll show you how you could awaken your chakras, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, I'm at the point, rightly or wrongly, naively, I could be getting, total Pollyanna, who knows? But, and I don't think it's coming just from a place of cynicism. But nuclear war. I mean, how many?
I just don't feel that's gonna happen.
No, I don't either.
And
But-
all right, if it does, if the nuclear war does happen, I mean, then whatever. I mean, we're all going home anyways.
But see, I don't even believe in nuclear.
Yeah, but
So,
not, yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, if that does transpire, then it's just like, we're all going home.
yeah, I know.
It's like, hold on, that's what I'm
Say
saying.
this. It's like this is what I was talking about, the fear thing. Even if nuclear war does happen, we're all going home anyways. No matter how this ends, the ending of this, we're all going back to, well, probably not back to the home that we came from, but we're all going back. You know what I mean? We're all going back home. Is what I'm saying. So whether that's in an energetic wave that then pulls us all out, and then we stand and we fully see it all, cool. If it's a nuclear war that does it, then cool. It's like it's the fear, all fear of every possible event. Like, just don't fear it. I mean, because at the end of the day, when you leave and when you exit here, however it happens, you're in absolute bliss on the other side. So it's, yeah, you're just in absolute bliss there. It's like, so it doesn't, I don't really care how the fuck it happens, to be honest with you.
But this is how well we've been programmed.
We have been so programmed to fear something, that is completely inevitable.
Yeah.
We are all leaving here one day. Like, even if everything we're talking about is a crock of shit, we are still leaving here one day. It is inevitable. Of old age or whatever. And yet, we have
fear
been programmed to fear something so inevitable, so strong, that we are prepared to compromise ourselves, compromise our morals, compromise our
compromise
soul,
who we are
compromise
as a
who we are,
soul.
in order to try and pretend it's not going to happen or avoid it. Or it's kind of crazy when you think about it. And to mourn it, to be fearful of it, and as if this is all we are and all we will ever be and all we can possibly experience. And how sad it is that someone didn't get to be here until they were in their 80s or 90s or longer, because of the way that the system's set up. People who live that long aren't really living, they're just existing, unfortunately. In bad health, forgotten and alone, a lot of them. I mean, it's hardly living. But without that fear, that's the biggest one. That is the biggest one, because that's why we do what we do as a species, and why we don't do. Because when people have no fear of death, then you can't control them.
I'm just pulling up a comment because I'm probably back. Like, familiar with.
It is a tough conversation to have. It's a tough subject to approach.
Pull up the comments so I can see it. If that's better.
just this is a really tough talk. I haven't had the experiences that Darius has had on the other side, out of body. I think I had that dream that I had. That was part of me trying to help me too, with this. But yes, the fear of death is the mother of all fears. And without it, everything is based on it. Everything comes after that. And
It's literally, Lisa, it's literally just the fear of death. You need to get rid of it. And it's something like even all my out of body stuff that I've had. All right. And I'm not going to go into detail with that real physical dense, although I've already explained that in many of the videos that I've done. But there is no such thing as no such thing as death. And so when you look at all the levels that they've used to put us in fear, death is one. If you have fear of any kind, you are being controlled. You're giving your power away and you're being controlled. So they use fear of death as another way of controlling people.
It's the ultimate one.
It's the ultimate form of control. But when all the out of body stuff that I've had, the experience with Celeste, when I was a kid, when you're over on the other side, everything that you could do here, you could do there. You could eat, you never feel full, because you don't really need to eat, but you could eat for the pleasure of it. It's all the pleasures of physicality with no limitations. You get access to all of it once you exit this body, or exit this realm, this slavery place that we're in right now. So no one needs to be in fear around death. And I know that's like, oh, well, it's just get rid of the fear. And it's through the out of body stuff that I've had, I went through years of fearing that I was dying. And I guess that's sort of, once you pop out and you pop out and you stand and you look at yourself sleeping on the bed and you look at your soul hands and it's just as physical and as dense as the physical body that you exit from. It's like it ingrains a knowing deep within you that, like, oh, fuck, there's no such thing as death. And it's not even like when you die too, and when you exit, everything that you are here comes with you. It's not like you don't lose your individuality. Everything that you are here, you take with you. You all that individuality, it's all there. You don't lose any of it. It's an amazing experience when you cross over to the other side. And so, but if the controllers of this world would make you believe that, or make you see that and understand that, then I mean, well, they would lose the control of the people here, because they wouldn't stand up. They wouldn't tolerate the bullshit that they keep on pushing on people. So, yeah.
But it's not even like, if I'm getting this right.
I'll just hide that comment.
Huh? Oh. The fear around death, there's multiple layers to that too.
What awaits them on the other side?
It's about what's after. And because we don't have any most of us don't have any conscious memories of having done this over and over again, or of being outside of this place. It's the fear of the unknown.
Well, everything that I'm saying as well. I mean, I'm missing some things, yes, but I've been to the other side in this lifetime many times. Fully crossing over, I think the only time that I've 100% fully crossed over is when I was a little kid and I had the experience with Celeste. That's when I fully was there. But the out of body stuff, it's like I'm 50-50, halfway out, halfway in, stuff like that. And what awaits you on the other side is nothing to fear. Like, no one's judging you on the other side. You are your judger, right? You're the only person that judges yourself. And what you judge yourself on the other side, which is pretty painful, is the love that you withheld. You look back, because when you fully stand on the other side and you see it all, you understand it all again, and you're like, and you it's not someone judging you, it's you judging yourself. Like, why would I withhold this from that person? Why would I not do this for that person? Because I wanted to do that, or I would do that now that I see it all. You judge the things that you withheld from others. You judge the love that you judge the love that you withheld from others. You judge you withholding yourself from you just being yourself. That's what you judge on the other side. And it's not a scary thing. I mean, it could be painful depending, but I mean, then you sort of just get over it and you're like, okay, I understand. But there's nothing to fear on the other side. There's no one going to sit there and condemn you. It's just you fully see it, and when you fully see it, you look at yourself. Really,
Yeah, do. No, people do. I just don't think the majority do. Of, remember that every time they died and got recycled. And I don't think that many have got really clear memories of before they came in here. But that some do, absolutely. And not having a fear of death is also not a death wish. Yeah, no, it's not, Daniel. I don't want to die, but when I thought I was confronted by it, I automatically surrendered to it. Yeah, that's essentially the same message. I know that that's something that, what's his name? Oh my God. I can't think.
The love that you withhold will be the pain.
What's his name? The guy that's been around forever.
Is that hold on? Is that an actual quote?
Yes, that's who I'm trying to think of.
That, all right,
Hold on. That's interesting, because when I had my out of body experience, it was the first time that I finally made contact with my uncle that has passed many years
Alex
now.
Collier, thank you, Don.
Alex Collier said that.
That's something he says. The pain that you, or whatever, the love that you withhold will be the pain that you carry.
Yeah. No, why? Well, that's it. Because Alex Collier has probably been through his experience, has probably been on the other side as well, based off the stuff that he shares. Because when I saw my uncle that has passed, he was telling me about the great work on the other side, right? And this was the first time I seen him. So I was like, why did it fucking take me this long to contact you, or for you to contact me? And he was telling me about the great work, how the most important thing of the great work is waking people up to the other side, because when they wake up to the other side, they wake up to everything here. And also the unconditional love. And I actually looked at parts of things that I've done here, right? And I was looking at myself and things that I was doing, and the love that I was withholding from other people. And I don't know how to explain it, but my uncle wasn't judging me. It was me judging. It was like, why the fuck did I do that? Or why am I continuing to do this? And it was very painful for me. I was in pain, because I was like, why am I acting like that? Why am I doing that? Why am I withholding this love from people that I should be sharing it with? And it was a type of love that I felt within myself that brought me to my knee. It's the love that I hold, and the love that everybody holds within them. that love brings you to your knees, type of deal. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that Alex Collier has actually like when he's shared his stuff, he's actually fully crossed over
Well,
before.
actually, I talked about this.
Hold on, I'll unmute you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I talked about this actually a while back. That if you haven't had a conscious out of body experience before, where you've, like you say, you get up and you turn around, you see your body on the bed, then it is so real, so dense, so physical that you might think you're physically being picked up or go on a ship or whatever, but it could be an out of body experience. And that a lot of what we think of as these like very physical abductions and experiences are actually happening etherically. And so it would be really interesting if Alex can document, and I've not seen him do so, I'm not saying he hasn't, whether anybody can confirm that his body was gone, or was his body actually asleep somewhere? Because you wouldn't know, you don't know.
Yeah, through all my experiences with my out of body, there's only one person that I've come in contact with, which is Hamish, that has explained it to the magnitude of how I experience it. And there's probably other people that I don't even know about that don't want to share it publicly. But it's when you fully are out, 100% out, you are more, it is so physical, so dense, more real, hyper real, more than it is physically. And it's like if I were to pop out of my body one day, and what Lisa said, if someone were to, like, take my body and put it in some truck and I didn't know that my body was somewhere else, I would think that I'm like, what? I would think that I'm walking in normal life, and I'd be like, whoa, this is so cool, but why can't anybody hear me? Like, because it's so real. So it's like Alex Collier would probably be, I wouldn't be surprised if when he does this, he's actually sleeping, he's popping out, and he's going on these ships and having all this contact.
This is just a comment in regards to the whole
Hold on.
love.
All right, go ahead. Hold on. You can
Read it out.
Love can even be withheld from self. The only two near deaths I had, my biggest regret was loving those who did not appreciate and not loving myself, I think is what he's saying.
Yeah. It's the love, all of it. It's the love that you withhold from yourself and the love that you withhold from others, and that's including, right? Like it doesn't necessarily mean like, sharing your love. Like if someone's harming you, if you have love for yourself, you're not going to put yourself in that situation, are you? So it's like even the love that you withhold for yourself, like don't put yourself in situations where you're getting abused, because you're not loving yourself, are you? So yeah, it's both. It's exactly what you're saying.
You're on mute, by the way.
No, he didn't take it that way, so it's all good, Janine.
I want to put it up.
Oh, there was a comment ages ago about understanding me straight away, but needing to hear it all come out with you. It wasn't. She's like,
Just share, 'cause
I can't find it now. It's way back. But it's just that you've got so much info and it all comes out so fast.
That's probably why I stutter. It's like I'm like glitching. I'm like, all the information's pouring. I'm like, like vibrates everything. Yeah.
I've talked about this before, multiple times over the years. but I have had experiences of being in a unconditional love state of consciousness for varying periods. The longest would have been about 3 months. And it's an extraordinary place to be. And yes, I agree, those who said the love that we're talking about, that unconditional love, is not something that we can or normally experience here. It's not a romantic love. It's something else. And I know that I'm not in that place right now. I haven't been for a couple of years. Probably the last time I was really there was 2016. And it started in the lead up to when Lulu came through. It's a whole other reality. And it's like this place, as fucked as it looks and feels to all of us right now, is even beautiful. And you see the beauty in everything and everyone. You see the code, the heart, the source, the light. And it's so hard to sustain. Oh, excuse me. The longest I've sustained it is 3 months. Yeah, definitely. Everything's different since the Lion's Gate, and then different again since the Queen. And I actually do feel like with her announcement was the go signal that, if you want to say light and dark hats, right? The light hats, white hats are so much more in control now. Like it's a done deal and everything can go public. It feels like we're in that process now of everything's starting to go public. Because there's no more booby traps, there's no more tricks that haven't been foreseen. I don't know, it just feels like the scales have tipped.
So all seem to be revealed.
Yep.
This was where was it?
We've been at this for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna tell you.
Shit. That went quick.
Yeah, it did. Flew by. Yeah, I was. Unless you're getting tired, are you getting?
Oh, it just makes it long recordings that people don't end up wanting to watch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could end it if you like.
Is there anything else you guys want to bring up? Yeah, time does fly when you're having chats like these. I couldn't believe the Telegram. We had a 5.5 hour one.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was nuts. And it went so fast. And we have covered so many different things. So that's where the 8th sphere stuff comes from. Steiner. Right. Steiner says the tightening of the 8th sphere around us is what will trigger the split as these beings sow the seeds. Oh, excuse me. Of their own. Why am I yawning? I've had 3 coffees and it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Because I haven't had much sleep again, I guess. I'm going to start from the beginning. Um, who is Steiner? Rudolf Steiner. Oh, maybe that's why too much coffee gives you the yawns. Maybe it does me too. Lisa, did you ever think that this high level of bliss was emotionally unstable? I was like a person with Williams disorder for years, but it was not a safe place to operate in a city of unawake people. Yeah, it's not easy. It's like, people who have a Kundalini awakening and end up in the psych ward. It is, how do I put this? It's destabilizing because everybody around you isn't in the same space. I didn't feel like it was dangerous. I actually found myself in some dangerous situations, but I was never in fear. I didn't know fear in that period. Yeah, I couldn't understand fear in that state. But also, I found that you're just pumping out an energy that people react and respond to. I don't think they're capable of doing anything dangerous to you. It's the way people respond. Did you find that the people's responses to you? And it's hard for kids. When you look at your 6-year-old and know that she's actually this incredibly powerful, ancient being, and you just want to see her fly and express all of that. And she's just 6 and she just wants mum. Right? That's tricky to navigate. I remember being in the States when I was in this state, and there were some pretty dodgy people out in the street, men. It looked like it was going to be like a violent interaction, and I just went out there and spoke to them and hugged them all, and acted like this was not a dangerous situation to be in at all. And just the whole thing just diffused. And so I don't know. Did you find, Blackie, that people responded to you differently? Was there anything that triggered your unconditional love bliss? Yep. The first time, I think, was some kind of Kundalini experience. The second time, I was on the Opal tour going across the States. So it was 2 months of intense emotional experience. And I knew ahead of time, for about 3 or 4 weeks, I kept saying something big feels like it's going down on Christmas Day. And I thought it was in a collective event. And a lot of people did have something go down for them on that day, but that's the day that it happened for me. And I woke up Christmas morning in the States. Within about 2 hours, I was feeling very strange. I ended up pretty much out of my body for about 11 hours walking around unconsciously saying, the timelines are collapsing. The timelines are collapsing. That's all I could say for 12, 11 hours. And that was Christmas Day, 2013. And then in 2016, again, it was a very emotional, kind of heartbreaking experience. And also an energy was removed that I think had been placed on me to shut me down. So I didn't stay in that space. And it was removed, and within hours, everything just started flowing and opening up again. So yeah, there's always been something.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, Lisa feels that we did die in 2012, and now we're in another process, right? Am I correct with that? But I
Well, sort of,
I
but
don't-
it depends on your definition of death. I mean, if I say we left the original, that construct that we were in, and we were moved, so we died to the old one, we were transferred. But I think the closest thing we have to the language of all of that is, yeah, we died in 2012. It's pretty much like the TV show Lost. And that whole experience that they had on the island is pretty much what we're doing. They were manifesting like crazy. They were manifesting all of their fears, their hopes, their desires, their nightmares, all of it. Purged it all out until someone realized, hang on, we dead. And there were people who died, if I remember that show correctly, there were people who died at all different times from different reasons in different ways, but came up, collectively put themselves on that plane to have that experience. So yeah, it depends on your definition of dead.
Do I think it's judgy? I think I'm reading this correct. To tell the truth or correct their misinformation. No, listen, I just feel, just speak your truth. Speak your knowing. And if your knowing offends somebody, then that's not on you. That's on the person. Like just speak, be yourself, but don't try to change anybody, because at the end of the day, this concept of oh well, we are here to change people. No, we're not. We're here to share our own personal experience. But at the end of the day, the individual has to do the individual inside job. They have to do the work. So it's either they're going to take the information that you present them and do their own work and understanding fully and completely, or they're not. And that's not up to you or me or anybody else. That's up to them. So I don't think it's judgy at all to just speak your truth. People are going to take it the way that they want to take it, and there's nothing that you could do about that. So.
But we have been on here pretty long, Liz.
Yeah, I
So
know. We'll wrap it up. Yeah, look, for me, something happened at the end of 2012. Absolutely. And it was funny because I was, I'd been doing interviews for like 3 years with people leading up to the whole 2012 thing. And no one got it right. And in the end, based on the stuff that I was looking at with the main calendar, I was convinced it was the end of time, not the end of the world. I had a party that night. Without even, only in hindsight years later, if it was the end of time, it was because it was the end of our time in that that construct. I offend all the time. I go, we knew this back when we ran those raves in the 90s, Lisa. Okay. All right, we have taken up
A lot of time there.
a lot of your time, so thank you for sticking around and allowing this conversation to go everywhere.
Do you guys feel rushed?
Like time's running out, kind of rushed. Yeah. Yeah. And even talked about this on recent YouTubes that even kids are feeling that way. People in their 20s are feeling like, they've got a bucket list they need to get to, or the time is running out, or kind of letting go of ideas of what they thought they wanted to do because there's not going to be time for that. Yeah, I'm seeing that a lot. I think the ones who are feeling rushed are the ones whose script hasn't completed yet.
Yeah.
But they know the time is running out. I'm personally more of my script is done. Oh, yes, they are very confused. All right, I'm going to say goodbye because otherwise the chat will keep going and I'll just keep talking. All right, thanks again for joining us, guys. See you soon.
See you later.
See you next week. And like we said, if we can pull it off, technically, we'll use Zoom so that you guys can actually interact more, because
Yeah, you can jump
it'll
in.
still go live on YouTube, but you'll be able to jump into the Zoomer if you want to be able to talk or come on camera or anything like that. So we'll see what we can do. Until then, bye for now.